Hello and welcome to NIAGA Spotlight with me, Tamina Kausji. NIAGA Spotlight goes through the week in business and future affairs, market watch, industries, analysis and insights. We've got you covered right here on NIAGA Spotlight. Well, today on analysis, we're taking a deep dive into Selangor's economy with a focus on the Sabak Bernam Development Area, or SABDA. Now, if this sounds unfamiliar, allow me to bring you through a couple of factoids before we start off. So SABDA is an economic push by Selangor State under First Selangor Plan to realize the full potential of Sabak Bernam, which also aims to secure Malaysia's food production while raising incomes of local communities. Now, launched back in June 2023, SABDA Plan aims to be a magnet for attracting investment amounting to hopefully RM 1.9 billion ringgit to develop the northern part of Selangor, especially in this district. Now, this will amount to roughly 248 million ringgit per year. This is according to Selangor Chief Minister Datuk Seri Amirudin Shari. Well, today on NIAGA Spotlight, in a timely manner, about a year on, NIAGA Spotlight evaluates progress, challenges and the path forward together with Zannifa Azura Ahmad, Head of the Group Finance Division and Chief Financial Officer with Menteri Besar Selangor Incorporated, who joins us right now live in the studios. Azura, welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Tamina. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Fantastic. So Azura, let's get started off by you actually telling us a little bit more about the SABDA initiative and how does it actually plan to impact the Sabak Bernam district?
Okay, Sabak Bernam SABDA is actually a comprehensive initiative led by MBI Selangor, mandated by the State of Selangor under the Rancangan Selangor Pertama or RS1. So the main three focus area is actually to enhance the food production or seafood production in the Sabak Bernam, ensure the food security in that area and also for Selangor or even Malaysia, and thirdly to promote ecotourism and agotourism in Sabak Bernam. So this is the goal here is to actually empower the local community. We want to help create a thriving ecosystem for them, promoting economic growth, but at the same time protecting the environment and also the well-being of the people. So that's what SABDA is all about.
That's right. So one very interesting factor about SABDA, Azura, as we were just chatting briefly earlier, tell me more about how big a role impact assessment actually plays in ensuring that one of this, all of the SABDA projects, which are very heavy on infrastructure, but at the same time aim to elevate and uplift local community standard of living, how important is it?
Okay. Sabak Bernam is a huge area in terms of land size.
Right.
So in order to understand how to push the development of Sabak Bernam, you definitely have to get your hands dirty. You have to go there. You have to understand the dynamic of the whole area.
Speak with the grassroots.
Precisely. So we spent almost a year in Sabak Bernam just to understand how it works. Because introducing something alien to Sabak Bernam will only kill the development, or even, you will be faced with resistance from the local community. So what we did, once we understand the dynamic, meaning we do impact assessment with every single area. So from there, we actually identify roughly around 18 initiatives that we think we can actually roll out, and 4 of them are called catalytic project. So one of them is located in Sungai Lang. It's focused on aquaculture. Right. We have another one in Sekinchan, where we plan to build an integrated landing port to help the local community. We also have the proposed redevelopment of Hay Resort and the surrounding area facing the Sungai Bernam. And most important of all, when we look at the whole ecology aspect of Sabak Bernam, we want to nominate Sabak Bernam as the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve nominee. So from there, we see many economic multiplier will actually take place. So this is our focus right now, the 4 main projects. At the same time, the on-ground project can actually move on with the collaboration with local partners, local agencies, and also universities.
Fantastic. Now that sounds really interesting, specifically Azura, because you've emphasized the fact that you're looking at not only ensuring there's economic and industrial gears running so that there's job market creation, but at the same time certifying certain areas as UNESCO biospheres. So tell me about what the compromise has to be for the business community who are also increasingly cognizant of complying with ESG and sustainability, but also of course need to see the figures tally.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we have to do a very strategic investment. We have to find like-minded strategies, like-minded partners.
That's right.
Also, we encourage people to actually go there firsthand and understand the dynamic. We try to create awareness among the local community. We want them to understand sustainability practices can go hand in hand with growing your businesses, right? So this kind of acceptance level actually encourage the investor to go in, right? Knowing that they will be supported by the local communities as well. Yeah.
Now, speaking about the local community, Azura, it was quite interesting for me to learn that Sabak Bernam, with a population of less than about 18,000, spread across an area the size of Singapore, however, has a significant elderly population, almost 20% or so, which is at least double the national average. So has that played a part in the kind of thought processes and impact assessments, as well as recommendations for which projects need to come into this very unique area?
Oh, definitely. We want to encourage the young people to go back to Sabak Bernam, and even the pensioner to go back to Sabak Bernam. They have lots of land there, right? So there are opportunities to actually develop the whole area together. We actually invest and work together with many partners to actually bring in to introduce training and also workshop, so that we can actually equip the local people with enough knowledge to actually take advantage of the investment coming into Sabak Bernam.
Absolutely. That also sounds very essential, so that basically you're not then parachuting workers from other areas, even within Selangor, right?
True.
So what kind of workshops, if you don't mind sharing a little more, would actually be in place to help upskill locals?
Okay. We focus on food production and also agriculture, right? So what we did, we encourage many university and partners to actually use Sabak Bernam as their living lab or test bed for sustainable innovation, right, when it comes to development. By doing this, you can see, I think in certain areas of Sabak Bernam, you already see this kind of project on the ground. For example, in Tanjung Karang, they look into how to increase the paddy yield by using organic fertilizer that they recycle from the jerami paddy, for example, right? And then when it comes to certain area where the soil is not suitable for planting, so we try to use a different method to actually grow the melon cell and many other products. Especially those with high nutritional value.
Understood. So basically customizing approaches despite it being comparatively a small agricultural area in Malaysia, right? All right, fantastic. I'd like to look at a couple more of the achievements that have actually been noted for the RS1 midterm review. Are there any in particular that you, heading the financial arm of SABDA, are particularly proud of and would like to highlight?
Okay, I think the 4 Catalyst project, just like any other project when it comes to development, it will have to go through certain process, especially when you deal with land, for example, right? So we are happy to say that we've already towards the end when it comes to land-related matters. So you can see the first phase of Sungai Lang aquaculture project to be executed, I think sometime early next year. When it comes to the redevelopment of the Hay Resort at Sungai Bernam, local authority will actually start doing the improvement and the refurbishment next year. When it comes to Sekinchan Integrated Landing Port, we're happy to say that the land issue is almost resolved. Therefore, we can start, commencement of the project can start also next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's extremely heartening because you've actually got two main thrusts when it comes to land use, which is the seafood economy and the agricultural sector.
Sure.
The seafood economy, however, is fairly advanced considering the fact that Sekinchan and industrial operations over there are quite historical. What advancements does the SABDA project hope to add to enhance this?
Okay. I think from the get-go, when we see the dynamic in Sabak Bernam, we know that we want to preserve the basic infrastructure like water and also land, right? So any technology that we want to bring in, it has to be sustainable in order to make sure long-term food security is there, right? So and also to make sure conservation of the environment is in place. So this kind of technology is the type that we want to bring in. And again, we welcome everybody to use SABDA as their living lab. So, I mean, you cannot test that in a lab. You really have to go there and actually, address the issue locally and actually look at and whether that actually align with the priority of the local people as well.
Exactly. Right. And it's very interesting because there are so many moving parts to what's happening, particularly in the seafood economy sector, whereby you're also trying to start up tuna and deep sea fish processing and packaging plant. And at the same time, it's also in the works to get EU certification for sustainability for this. How is all of that being balanced?
Okay. I think most of the Catholics project just now, right, especially the one in Sungai Lang, that will take some time to actually reach its full capacity. So the first phase, we focus on the aquaculture center first. So with that will come R&D and also the economic multiplier to the local people as well. So hopefully, a few years down the road, you can actually escalate the sector into, have the need will arise where you need to have a port there. Right?
Correct, exactly, because if you're scaling up operations, then absolutely you have to make way instead of scrambling at the last moment. So at the end of the cycle, it is projected that land-based fish and crab farms will also be able to create anywhere between 2,500 to 5,000 job opportunities.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
And again, it's just it's a target set at the beginning of the project. So as we move along,
it might be a moving target.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but we hope we don't lose sight of the original, target. So hopefully it can increase or multiply than the original number.
Exactly. Thank you very much for the conversation so far, Azura. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back. So don't go anywhere. Stay right with us on NIAGA Spotlight. We'll be back in just a jiffy. Welcome back to NIAGA Spotlight with me, Tamina Kauji. Today, of course, we're focusing on Selangor's economy and in particular SABDA, the Sabak Bernam Development Area. So Azura, continuing the conversation, let's deep dive into addressing food security, which of course is an immense concern for Selangor, the Golden State, as well as how that impacts the whole of Malaysia when it comes to our food security. Tell us about what specific measures MBI has been implementing to ensure that this is part of the picture and we don't diverge from it.
Okay. I think before I even go there, I just want to share certain interesting facts about Sabak Bernam contribution in terms of food supply in Selangor. I think if you look at the supply of white prawns or tiger prawns, right, I would say almost 48 or 49% actually came from Sabak Bernam. This is based on the data formally published in 2022. And about 70% of paddy actually came from Sabak Bernam.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how crucial is Sabak Bernam to Selangor or even Malaysia.
And what I'm also hearing is that it's not only a protein source but also a staple carbohydrate. So it's actually a very unique sort of collation of both major food groups that's coming out of Sabak Bernam.
Yeah. So MBI and our strategic partner would like to take it further. It's not just about high yield, we want fast yield crops. And also not just any crops, we want a high crop with high density, nutrient density, right? Like something like superfood, but how do you make it accessible to the people?
Fair enough,
right?
Yes, that is a conundrum.
Right.
So are you introducing new superfoods perhaps, or actually building on traditional knowledge and practices to make it marketable as a superfood?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hybrid,
right?
New superfood and also what we already have there, right? So I think the pilot is ongoing at the moment. So hopefully we should be able to actually share that with the bigger, at a bigger scale at Sabak Bernam. On top of that, we also bring in partners to introduce circular economy, which at the moment in certain part of Sabak Bernam, once you semai padi, you actually bakar the jerami, you burn it, which is not a good practice actually. But what we do, we bring in the right partner to actually process the whole thing, and from there you can actually create biogas and also bio fertilizer and a certain element of carbon credit as well. So this is something, a new revenue stream for the local people as well. So this one is at the pilot stage at the moment. So we really hope, we can actually implement this at a larger scale later in Sabak Bernam.
Exactly, and fully integrating it from the bottom up so that basically when time comes, you're able to roll it out. Also, I just wanted to point out that in the recent Selangor State budget, 40 million ringgit was actually allocated for food security measures in the case of geopolitical upheaval and such like. So what would such an allocation ideally be diverted towards, particularly in years when this is not an overt concern, but at the same time climate change is ever present? We've just gone through, even though now we're having a lot of rain, we've just gone through an extremely hot season.
True. I think if you notice, all over Selangor, we don't actually have a dedicated storage area to store the food, right?
That's right, exactly.
So it would be good if some of the fund can be allocated towards that while we work on the high nutrition crops, right? Find ways how to actually store these things safely in the storage area, and that we should have the storage area along the, for example, ECRL, the up and coming ECRL, for example.
Fair enough.
Imagine how we can actually
integrate it all within one system.
So you just invest one time, but you actually address so many issues.
Very
you have
true.
rail there, you have the supply from Sabak Bernam, but where is the storage area, right? So ideally we should have that all over Selangor. So I hope we can actually divert some of the fund towards that as well.
That's right. And of course, one also thinks about how the farming community and the fishing communities are able to sustain during slight down periods during the year. So there comes up the issue of driving ecotourism. And let's talk about a couple of the initiatives which already have been observed in the general Sabak Bernam area and how SABDA aims to scale them up, perhaps.
Okay, yeah, you're right about that. I think if you go to Sabak Bernam, it's actually a hidden gems.
Absolutely, we have been there, yes.
I was pleasantly surprised when I first went to Sabak Bernam. So you can see beautiful landscape. You have half of the forest in Selangor is actually located in Sabak Bernam, right? So you talk about, you have lots of mangroves area, peat swamps, and not to mention the long coastline, I think around 60 kilometers, and you have a smaller waterways like the Sungai Bernam, the Ban Canal. These are all tourist potential, right? So, but what we do, we actually create awareness among the locals. This is something that you can actually leverage on, turn it into economic activities. So what we did last year, we organized this Carnival Ban Canal. It managed to attract more than 10,000 people. So the economic impact from that simple event is still ongoing right now in Sabak Bernam. Yeah,
incredible.
When it comes to food, people love food, right? So
very much so. And Malaysians know much more than many others.
So that's one of the things that is happen following that carnival actually. So we will actually organize another round of carnival this year, which is actually part of the tourism calendar already. So that will be in November. So you're welcome to go there, Tamina, and really experience, what SABDA has to offer.
And I think SABDA is also just gearing up now, Azura, for basically the next year, which is also focusing heavily on tourism with Visit Selangor. So will that also be part of an updated, extended calendar when it comes to ecotourism opportunities and attracting people, hopefully on a weekly basis, weekends especially?
Yeah. In fact, actually, according to one of the study, they've already identified 72 tourism products under 12 categories in Sabak Bernam.
12 categories.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And one of that is actually an area called Segitiga Sungai Air Tawar. So you get to see the beautiful beach. You can actually travel to Kelong Paradise, where you get to experience fishing, right?
Firsthand.
Firsthand. And then you also in the work right now is actually preparation of the glamping area. So if you go in that area, there will be a triangle, so you get to experience all this. So hopefully that will be included in the calendar next year.
Exactly. So different types of experiences for different budgets, basically, amongst Malaysian internal domestic tourism.
Precisely. Yeah.
Fantastic. One interesting fact that I would like, perhaps if you had more information about it, the Complex Pendaratan Hasil Laut Sekinchan project, which aims to be the first integrated fish landing port in Sekinchan. When we speak of integrated, what are we actually talking about on the slightly technical side of things? Because I think as Malaysians who may have visited or passed by this area, we're making the Blaze assumption that it's all integrated.
Yeah. Okay, so basically if you go to Sekinchan now, you can see a lot of fishermen, right? They have their own facility to actually handle the packaging, and then everybody handle their own downstream products. There's no proper cold room, for example. So what we want to do now, by having an integrated landing port, meaning the supporting facilities is also very coordinated, so that you have one packaging area, one distribution area, a very one dedicated cold room, for example, for everybody. So that will actually keep the cost down, right? Yeah. So, and the introduction of new technology, right? If you want to trace the product from which area, and distribution to which area later, right? So that would be certain. That is the kind of new technology that we want to introduce.
Exactly, because basically the project is expected to increase fishing capacity by more than 300%. Basically systemizing the entire supply chain is what will also help to hopefully integrate these products into domestic as well as regional markets, right?
So what happened right now is actually without a proper landing port, the whole area can only support 200 fishermen at one time.
Understood.
So with a proper, more efficient logistic and preparation of the berthing place, right, for the fishermen, then you can cater to more than 200. All right. So that's what we meant by that. So hopefully, we will see that commencement of those by next year.
That's right, exactly. And this is also a medium to long-term project. Hopefully, we'll see food within the next 10 years or so. Right. Moving into a couple of the food security initiatives tabled under the midterm review from 2024 to 2025, just to end out the conversation, Azura. Let's talk a little bit about the Selangor Agro-Technology Acceleration Program. If you could tell us a little about that.
Okay, I think this one is handled by a few agencies at state level and also a few outfits under MBI. So what we do is we gather all the technology partner, for example, and actually educate or do transfer of knowledge to the local player. And I think this one is something that state is very passionate about. They're pushing for all these workshops and seminars. And we as the agency, leading agency for SABDA, actually help conduct all the seminar with the local agencies. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's all about really integrating the local agencies together with the domestic players who are already interested in investment. Perhaps one last area of discussion, Azura. How does MBI plan to maintain momentum for SABDA over the next couple of years, especially in light of any perhaps economic or even political related challenges?
Okay. All right. So I think it's important that we explore a really strong financial base. So therefore, that's why we actually push for PPP, public-private partnership, because this also offers flexibility when faced with challenging circumstances or also changing political landscape and so on. And then we also engage all the stakeholders. We have very open communication line with all the local agency. If there is such changes on the ground, for example, and there is a need to actually change our project plans, we will do that. But of course, we will do the impact assessment first before we actually execute, right? And then I think investment in agro innovation is a good thing. I think regardless of the changes, right? So we actually we will continue to invest into that area or work together with our partners. And I think it's important that we continuously equip the local community with all the training, the necessary skill to actually participate with all the initiatives. Yeah, that would be something that we have to pursue along the way for the next 10 years or so. Yeah.
Azura, thank you so very much for your deep insights into everything Sabak Bernam Development Area. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's all we have time for today on NIAGA Spotlight. We'll see you next week again with more business highlights and headlines. I'm Tamina Kausji signing off. Here's to a productive week ahead.